against us. They hate our souls. They hate us. They hate our righteous indignation. They hate the exhortation that dwells in us. They hate our love for the They hate our conviction. They hate the fact that we repented. They hate the fact that we're truthful, honest, and bold. They hate our courage. Them devils hate us. We're not finna line ourselves up with these weirdos and freaks. With these weirdos and freaks. They working against us. They hate our souls. Weirdos and freaks. But these weirdos and freaks, they working against us. They hate our souls. New breed.
Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Undoubtedly, the one you call Jesus Christ was a black man. He was melanated. He had hair like wool. He had a deep voice. He was dark-skinned. He wasn't only just a black man. He was a dark-skinned man. He wasn't brown. He wasn't light-skinned. No, Christ was dark. We're talking about Wesley Snipes, dark. So let's make that clear. That's how he's described biblically. I don't know who this character is that they put up, but clearly the Most High God ain't happy with it. What my man Sizzler say? We serve no white God. I'm sorry, he's not white. Christians, I know that you have a hard time accepting this. You have a hard time understanding that Christ is the same image as your sons, as your uncles, as your father, as your grandfather, as the man that you dealt with. Yeah, he came in that same image. His lineage and bloodline is of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He comes through the lineage of David. He was a black man, all right? There's no doubt about it. In some extra biblical text, on record, on file, it even goes into race attributing to his crucifixion. because of the things he was bringing to the world. They even say his race contributed to his crucifixion. Now, let's make that clear. And if you have a problem with that, if you have an issue with that, so be it. But make this clear. Regardless of what your nationality is, your color, kindred, or creed, if you choose not to remember Christ as the scriptures have said, that's on you. You have to take that up with the Lord. But you see how the Lord is dealing with false idols.
Are you children of Israel? We are the biblical Israelites. Let's shine our light on this entire world and let them know that we're not standing for these 2/3 and their evil intentions for us. And we're not falling for the tricks and the charades. It's time that we rise up, honor the law, statutes, and commandments written up in that Bible, and stay on the right direction. What's good, everybody? It's your brother New Breed coming through with another live stream. What's happening, everybody? I see y'all in the chat. God's property is in the building. Tubster's in the house. Let's see. I see Sacred 84, Tamika Buckley, Jay Hayes, Rome B. Y'all, I see y'all. Mr. Wild Seed, Dublin Fitzpatrick. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button on y'all way in. We definitely got some real important information to unpack. Yes, indeed. There's a lot going on in the news. For all my day ones that have been on this platform, I know a lot of you all are used to that spiritual voltage that you signed up for, and you still get that. But I've given a lot of baby milk. And you know, the scriptures say we're supposed to progress. We're supposed to start eating steaks by now. So if you notice, there's a lot more detail into the scholarly, into the history. And we putting it out there. So you can expect more detailed analysis. And you're going to be seeing documentaries. I'm talking about profound knowledge that is designed to really enlighten you and have you sharp. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of that in the future. And, you know, it's well worth it. The channel is definitely maturing in multiple ways. All right. And let's get into this, man. There's a lot going on. Donald Trump, we're going to go into a brief monologue because a judge just labeled Trump's invasion of Los Angeles illegal. And this is breaking news. This just took place. And what it looks like is happening is there's been an injunction, which means that Trump is going to have to come up with a reason why he actually invaded Los Angeles through the Posse Contaminants Act. And the judge, his name is like Charles R. Breyer. And basically it gives Trump all the way to September 12th to explain why he deployed 4,000 National Guard members and 700 Marines to Los Angeles for domestic law enforcement. Now, meanwhile, while all this is happening, they still going into Chicago as we speak, taking over the naval base over there. So I don't know if that means he's going to stop his whole tirade or what's going to happen. But, you know, look, everything he's been doing has been illegal. And the military has been targeting Blacks and Latinos. And it's only because those are the children of the Most High, you know, the indigenous people of the land. And we know the Latino people have a huge influence and history embedded in Los Angeles. I mean, just listen to the name of it, Los Angeles. And Nonetheless, you got these colonizers who come over, pillage, destroy, vandalize, steal, commit genocide, anything under the sun. And then they trying to tell people where they belong. We talking about these damn nomads, these Idumean Vikings, these vagabonds. They feel like they can just do whatever the hell they want to do. Now, who knows what's going to become of that judge's ruling, but it looks like they are already on their conquest, right? So we could just keep our eyes on that. But nonetheless, that's not why you're here today or this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. government, they have confessed. They have confessed the secret Cold War test in St. Louis, targeting Black neighborhoods with a cancerous causing material, an agent that pretty much fumigates the air. This strange mist that they was putting in the Black community was to cause cancer. And they actually finally admitted that this just went viral via World Star Hip Hop. Somebody sent me this clip, and we definitely got to talk about this, because right now you got some Black folks who believe that the military, the Army in particular, because the Army is who did these secret Cold War tests, they believe that it's cool for them to be up in minority communities, as if we should really be trusting these people. And listen, after all the experimentation that was done on our people, I mean, it's a lot, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of experiments. We got this I always butcher this word, Tuskegee experiments that took place. I mean, and let's just stick to the Army. What the Army did, Operation White Coat. That was 1954 through 1973, where the U.S. Army Medical Commands conducted experiments on volunteer soldiers, exposing them to what? Biological agents, giving them Q fever, yellow fever, San Francisco Bay Area biological sprays, 1950 to 1960. The U.S. Navy actually conducted germ warfare. And guess who they affected? Black communities, including Black neighborhoods. You can find that in the Smithsonian magazine, by the way. Or the Army with the LSD and MK Ultra overlaps. I mean, they've done so much. In case y'all don't know what the Tuskegee is, that's the syphilis study they did in 1932 to 1972, where they took 600 Black men out of Alabama and infected them with syphilis. Now, I want to know, honestly, what happened to the 1,600 people that Donald Trump said he took out, because that's the words he used today. He said, we took out 1,600 people. Took them where? Because D.C. Federal Penitentiary is packed. And the U.S. military doesn't have the right to detain U.S. citizens. And the police wasn't involved. So where did they go? And what does it mean you took them out? That's what he said in his press conference today. Why is it that we can't find no record of where these people are at? Are they in Alligator Alcatraz? Where are they? Or are they lying? Or is this some type of human experimentation going on? We had recently had a whistleblower come on, and he told the truth about how they treat our veterans and how under the Trump administration that they were told in a briefing to conduct all of y'all's meetings and trials as normal, but deny everybody's benefits. That's what he got on the show and told us. Mr. Tony Ruiz got on the show and told us that. So forgive me if I'm not just open arms and all trustworthy of what these people are doing, coming in our communities, trying to tell us they just trying to clean up crime. Now, listen to what was admitted by the U.S. government. Secret Cold War tests in St. Louis. Peep this, y'all. This is crazy.
Their windows against it. Now to a News Nation exclusive investigation into a secret government experiment that was carried out in St. Louis. Residents tell us they still remember a mysterious fog. Children would run through it. Mothers would try and close their windows against it. For decades, they all had questions, and now we're seeking answers. The United States Army now admits that it sprayed a chemical that contained cadmium, a known carcinogen, on a neighborhood of more than 10,000 people. Critics say this was done with no warning and no consent. Well, tonight we return to the site of that demolished neighborhood and speak with former residents who believe the government turned them into human test subjects. Although the Army admits that the test happened, it is not admitted to harming the residents. News Nation's Natasha Zubez investigates what was.
They admitted to the test happening, but didn't admit to harming the residents. First of all, ethically and morally and against the law, that is. You can't just experiment on people. You just can't, I mean, you just can't pick chemicals to spray in the air, to see how it's going to affect the people. And these are the same people that y'all trusting in the communities to police us? Nah.
In the fog, and why the truth may still be buried.
The fog drifted through the streets like a ghost.
That's exactly what it looked like, a thick fog.
It was summertime and it was hot. We would just run through it as fast as we could and try to just cool ourselves off. It stuck to you.
The spray was so foul as far as the odor. It made some of us have headaches, nausea, dizziness.
That's what I remember. It made me sick.
It wasn't the weather. It was an eerie smoke descending from rooftops, rolling from the backs of trucks.
Regular flatbed truck, but it had a big machine on the back. And it had a big nozzle that really sprayed a fog you couldn't even see through. It was that thick. And it really, we felt it as it would adhere to our skin. And as far as the guys on top of the buildings, they tried to portray them to us as maintenance workers.
Wow. Ain't too much changed. And now they taking over that naval yard in Chicago. Why? Because the military don't plan on leaving. They've already conditioned people to accept military being in the black community surrounding us. It ain't no telling what they gonna be doing since ICE has expanded their operations. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is war. And when you hear on the news nowadays, where they talk about the troops being deployed and how we got a strong military, they're not even talking about fighting somebody overseas no more. Trump's press conference today, he was talking like he was fighting another country. And this is all about the black community. This been going on. See, but the thing about the Republicans, they outright with their hate and racism. The Democrats, they like to pacify us and keep things on the low, but we already know what they on. Neither side have a comprehensive plan for us. And when I say us, I mean all the real minority groups, because they sullied that word too, where anybody who come over here is considered minorities now. Y'all know exactly what minorities I'm talking about. Those 12 tribes from the diaspora. That's who the war is against. Yeah, I mean, we really looking at Rex 84, the King Alfred plan in real time. And it's nothing new. Look.
But we was like, what is a maintenance worker doing? And basically a hazmat suit. And they had masks and goggles.
In the 1950s and 60s, in secret, the U.S. Army sprayed zinc cadmium sulfide into the air of a St. Louis housing project, a largely black neighborhood called Pruitt-Igoe.
It was a lose-lose situation for us in Pruitt-Igoe. We were subjects. We were subjects.
They didn't ask for our permission.
Exactly. They were subjects, just like the people in Chicago are subjects, just like the people in DC are subjects. Right now, y'all falling for Trump out here tyranny tiptoeing, claiming he cleaning up crime one damn city at a time. And y'all think America's supposed to be some utopia when he's done with it. Nah, he's clamping down, going to war with God's people. This is called Jacob's trouble, written of in the scriptures. And they've been doing these things without our permission. The whole gang stalking program in itself is human experimentation to see how we're going to react. Telling y'all.
We didn't ask for them to spray us. My government used me like I was a guinea pig.
We're standing at where Pruitt-Igoe used to be here in St. Louis, and it's hard to believe more than 10,000 people used to live here. As we bring our drone up, you can see it's mostly just an empty lot now, overgrown with trees. This used to be filled with 33 high-rise buildings.
They had to take the whole projects down. Look how many, it had to be a lot of people living in there. That is a huge project building. Sheesh. And that's how they wanted us living, just like that, stack on top of each other. You know, there was a whole experiment done by some rats with, you know, using some mice, and they put them in what you call projects. Even the word projects tell you what it is a damn project to study human behavior. Because this type of living condition right here is really no different than the prison institute. To see if they can get our people acting inhumane. Let's go.
It was all demolished in 1976. And according to the National Research Council, St. Louis was chosen for spraying experiments because it had similar characteristics to Soviet targets like Moscow in terms of population density and terrain and proximity to a river. The government now admits to a secretive series of Cold War tests, including one dubbed large area coverage. More than 30 tests conducted across the U.S. and Canada, spraying zinc cadmium sulfide from planes, rooftops, and vehicles to simulate how a biological attack might spread.
I wonder if 30 years from now, they're going to admit what the hell they're doing with the homeless people. Trump gets in office and he claims that he's doing a homeless relocation plan. Where the hell are they relocating to? Are you going to give them a home? How are you going to do a homeless relocation plan? What's that? A lot of homeless people are going missing. I believe it's human experimentation, personally, because these people are known for this. They're known for it.
All to prepare for potential warfare against the Soviets.
Many of us been in the military and had top secret clearances. We know how it works.
We have died for America. We have fought for America.
You are a veteran.
I am United States Air Force veteran.
You hear that? A veteran who died and fought for America. And this is the reason why we had Mr. Tony Ruiz on. This reason right here, where he got on here and he told you how they treated the veterans. He told you how they treated them. And you know the reason they do that? Because if somebody was to form some type of militia in a civil war setting, who would they most be afraid of? You guessed it, the veterans. So you have to destroy them at all cost.
Dr. Starks, you're a veteran as well, isn't
Yes, I am. I'm an Air Force veteran also.
Is there a sense of betrayal here?
Definitely, definitely.
They want to know if those secret tests have anything to do with what they're observing with their own eyes.
I lost my two older siblings to cancer. I lost a brother last month.
I've been diagnosed recently with a rare form of lymphoma.
I had cancer of the left kidney, had partial.
So you see this, everybody getting some ailment that's deadly.
Removal of my left kidney.
News Nation reached out to the Army for answers. They provided a one-page response. It says the Army's own Center for Health Promotion and Preventive Medicine investigated in 1994 and found inhalation exposure would not pose a health risk.
So why the hell they ain't take that to the suburbs? If it didn't give no health risk, why they decide to go into the projects where our people live and dump off their chemicals in there? Why they didn't go to middle America? Since y'all thought it was absolutely safe. Y'all gotta understand, this is war. This is war. And knowledge is power. And you can never trust your enemy. Straight up.
They also cite later corroborating reviews, including a 1997 review by the National Research Council. Perhaps they assumed we wouldn't read the NRC's 380-page report, but we did, and the Army's statement doesn't show the full picture. In that 1997 review, the National Research Council explicitly says repeated exposure to zinc cadmium sulfide can cause kidney or bone toxicity or lung cancer.
Then there was a brother in that room who had he had a kidney removed because of cancer.
If levels are high enough.
And this happened when they were children, running through that mysterious fog. See, this is depopulation.
And they admitted they couldn't fully assess the risk. Why? Because some Army records remain classified, it says, for national security reasons. More troubling, key Army exposure records were missing. And when the NRC asked the Army to supply them, the Army said it couldn't find them. Finally, the NRC considered conducting its own study, but concluded it wasn't feasible. In short, it did not test the site, collect samples, or test residents, and they didn't have access to all the data. Their review was based on what the Army gave them, and what the Army either could not find or withheld.
Exactly, but the Army did confess to some of these things being true, but they withheld a lot as well. Now, I did my little personal research as well, because, you know, that's what I do. Try to find out, you know, what documents by name is out there for the general public, so we can, you know, we can get some answers, even though they really are omitting what they did. But nonetheless, the document is called Operation Lack. All right. Large area coverage, Army Chemical Corps. This is what they used to do it. All right. The Army, what they did confirm is part of the Operation Lack, LAC, 1957 and 1958, it dispersed zinc cadmium sulfide particles over U.S. and in Canadian cities too. Locations including St. Louis, and you know they declassified this around 1994. The government released classified records showing it did do it. And you can also do some research in the National Research Council assessment that was done in 1997. You know, my question is now, are they going to pay these people? Are they going to pay these people?
The Army ends its statement to News Nation by saying, quote, none of the reports contained evidence of a radioactive component to the zinc cadmium sulfide dispersion tests. Residents say the secrecy and delays are no accident.
They're waiting us out.
They're waiting on all of us to die.
But that's not even the whole story, as residents demand to know what else could have been in that spray.
They have not come clean with what was in there.
Do you believe that it was just zinc cadmium sulfide in that spray?
No.
No.
We go to the source, a researcher who has spent decades declassifying government documents about these tests. Do you believe the U.S. government sprayed some kind of radioactive material on the residents of St. Louis?
I believe that they did.
And the government's surprising response to our request to declassify information.
I mean, what the hell?
Plus, renowned activist Erin Brockovich weighs in.
Do you think there's been a lie here, a cover-up here?
It sure looks that way.
The residents are asking for an apology from the government for being experimented on. They are asking for compensation for...
Yeah, they deserve compensation. They deserve they deserve 50 billion apiece. How about that? So they can go build their own communities. They deserve so much they can be able to build their own community somewhere. They got to ask the government for an apology while they're admitting to doing this. And even in 2025, they're still targeting the black community. The military is still targeting the black community. And you got these people out here who want to do their investigations on everything when it comes to their own people. They need to be investigating this, like Real 80 said in the chat. A full-on investigation. But nowadays, if you speak up against tyranny, they call you un-American. So we're supposed to just lay back and watch them conduct bio-warfare on our people without even giving these people any recompense.
Health studies for themselves and their children. They're also asking for transparency. They want the government to release all the documents about the spraying. So, Elizabeth, tomorrow night...
Ladies and gentlemen, get the likes up, because they knock like 30 or 40 people out at once because the likes not matching the views. So it's up to y'all to actually spread the information. Let's go.
On your show, we will go on a journey to try to declassify the one government document that a key researcher tells us she has never been able to expose. And we take the investigation to Erin Brockovich. For the residents still here, still fighting, the question is whether they will get any answers before it's too late. Elizabeth.
Well, they'll have a better chance of it with you on the case. Natasha Zuvez, thank you so much. In part one of our News Nation investigation last night, we uncovered a mysterious fog that once drifted through a St. Louis neighborhood, one that residents still remember decades later.
It made some of us have headaches, nausea, dizziness.
They didn't ask for our permission. We didn't ask for them to spray us. My government used me like I was a guinea pig.
They're waiting us out.
They're waiting on all of us to die.
The government admits it sprayed.
Yeah, they waiting for all of them to die. I don't know if this is WorldStar repeating the same thing. Let me see.
A chemical that contained cadmium, a known carcinogen. Tasha's
uncover many of them.
We know that they were giving radioactive cocktails to pregnant women. We know that they were feeding radioactive oatmeal to...
Okay, no, they're not repeating the same thing. So we need to go through this. Let's go.
Ask for our permission. We didn't ask for them to spray us. My government used me like I was a guinea pig.
They're waiting us out.
They're waiting on all of us to die.
The government admits it sprayed a chemical that contained cadmium, a known carcinogen, critics say without warning and without consent. They sprayed it on a neighborhood of more than 10,000 people, but now years later, residents are getting sick, some with rare forms of cancer, and they're asking what else might be hidden from them. Specifically, what else could have been in that spray? News Nation's Natasha Zuvez picks up the investigation from here.
We're on our way to meet with a researcher right now who has dedicated her career, decades, to declassifying documents and trying to figure out what exactly happened here in the city of St. Louis and what exactly was in that spray. Across the country, the government conducted secret Cold War experiments in plain sight.
It was so secretive that we're really just now sort of digging out from underneath us to try to understand the scale of it.
And Dr. Lisa Martino-Taylor helped uncover many of them.
We know that they were giving radioactive cocktails to pregnant women. We know that they were feeding radioactive oatmeal to children in state schools. They've admitted to those things, and they won't release the material related to St. Louis.
And they call us conspiracy theorists anytime we question what they got going on. You got the president missing for about a week. He comes back. All he want to talk about is SpaceX. Going into space when down here on Earth, it's not looking too good. You know, these people are filthy, man. Y'all got to understand what was happening in a lot of these experiments, what they were actually doing. Listen, I don't even know if y'all know about the plutonium injection experiment in the 1940s. Yep. Where they took a bunch of hospital patients, they didn't even know this was going to happen, but they was injecting them with plutonium and other radioactive substances. And guess what they end up getting? Cancer. This is what the government be doing. Or the Guatemala syphilis experiments, where U.S. researchers was infecting prisoners, soldiers, psychiatric patients. Yeah, those are the type of people they like to study. People in the psych wards. Y'all need to watch this show called The Institute. They really be having those. Y'all want to trust them people if you want to. People who got telekinesis, people who got special gifts. Listen, y'all got to start thinking outside the box, bro. Telling you. The time of getting baby milk is over. People who got telekinesis and can read minds, because that stuff really does exist. They got children in these underground caves, bunkers. They got, listen, in some places in the country, in the rural areas, they completely blocked off, surrounded by military. You know, places like that's just like Area 51, and nobody can go around there. You would be shocked if you knew what the U.S. government was doing to these people. You would be shocked. But they sit up here and tell you they're going to go in the community and bring y'all some safety, and y'all believe that. The Bible says when these people say safety, you know that destruction is neareth. I'm not trusting no people who was giving children radioactive oatmeal to go make my neighborhood safe. Come on now. I'm not trusting no people who completely destroyed the Black Panthers, but the KKK still around. The Black Panthers, they were setting up school programs, stoplights, lunch programs, breakfast programs. They gone. KKK still around. Yep. They do it in some of these old folks' homes too. Retirement homes is what they call. Experimenting on the elders. Oh yeah, that's the system you live in. It may not be easy to digest, but it's true. I'm telling you. This is the truth they don't want y'all to even be thinking about. Just like right now, this homeless relocation plan. Where the homeless at? Where are they? See, based on history, I can imagine what's happening.
It's true. American children in state-run institutions like the Fernald School were fed radioactive oatmeal as
Y'all hear that? We were just talking about schools. It was an institute. What were they doing? Experimenting on them kids. And you know they talking about Black kids, right? They was giving them radioactive oatmeal to see how it was going to affect them. And these are the people that we trust to police our neighborhoods. What about the Holmesburg prison experiments? That happened in 1951 all the way to 1974. In Philadelphia's Holmesburg prison, mostly Black inmates were exposed to dioxin. Agent Orange toxin is what they call it. And those are skin burning chemicals. They was using experimental drugs on them. Many suffered permanent health damage, disfigurement, and cancer. Now, what kind of devils and demons is doing this? The people who have the power to do it. I'm telling y'all, this stuff is real.
Part of studies by MIT sponsored by the Atomic Energy Commission. You can see some of the documents Dr. Martino Taylor worked to gather and declassify on MIT letterhead describing experiments on human subjects. The children, some of them orphans, were told they...
You hear that? They go after the orphans. They go after the kids in, what are those homes called? Like orphanage homes and stuff. Foster homes. That's it, foster homes. And not to mention, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Them formulas, them baby formulas, chemicals, metals, soft metals, all of that. Like y'all act like, I mean, we got to wake up. And I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking to people on the outside who come over here and act like that we just some conspiracy theorists. Like that term need to go when we got facts. When literally right now, as we speak, there are schools. I believe there are still schools and institutes like this where kids are locked up in cages being experimented on. They're just being blocked off. Some of them are underground in these trillion-dollar cities. That's just what's happening. That's what's happening in this world. You got to ask yourself, in a surveillance country that we live in, how the hell they don't know what all these missing people are? Do that make any logical sense? Where are the missing people?
Be joining a science club. They were promised a quart of milk a day, a trip to a baseball game, to the beach. A copy of the 1994 congressional hearing shows those children, now grown, describing being told the oatmeal was just vitamins and recalling the health problems that followed: lumps on my arms, my stomach. Pregnant women were also unknowingly given radioactive iron at top hospitals in Tennessee and California to study how radiation crossed the placenta. Some later...
Oh, hear this? Hold on. Let me go back for a second. Because this is crazy. They were telling these kids they was giving them vitamins. Tell them, look, you got to take these vitamins. But look what they were doing.
Science club. They were promised a quart of milk a day, a trip to a baseball game, to the beach. A copy of the 1994 congressional hearing shows those children, now grown, describing being told the oatmeal was just vitamins and recalling the health problems that...
Oh, they told them that oatmeal was vitamins.
Followed: lumps on my arms, my stomach. Pregnant women were also unknowingly given radioactive iron at top hospitals in Tennessee and California to study how radiation crossed the placenta.
Wow. They wanted to find out how radiation crossed the placenta. This is what this is what the U.S. government was doing. And they admitted it. Doe Eyes, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. It says, ever wonder why seed victims were hidden from families? It is a reach to believe. Is it a reach to believe some of them, these organs, have not been transplanted and studied? Exactly. I remember when that stuff first hit and they shut down all of the retirement homes. They shut them down. You could not go visit your loved ones, and you just get a phone call. Hey, COVID hit. They didn't make it. We don't know what the hell happened. We don't know what happened. That's just how it goes.
Later reporting miscarriages, illness, or birth defects. A class action lawsuit resulted in a settlement in the 90s.
Do you believe the U.S. government sprayed some kind of radioactive material on the residents of St. Louis?
I believe that they did. There's so much contextual evidence that points that way. And
they admitted that they did it. So to ask, do you think they did it? That's asinine. They did it. They admitted they did it. The next step is be like, okay, if they did this, should we trust them today? Now, you know, you got a lot of coward, pusillanimous people out there, especially creators, that are afraid to just speak the truth. This is just the truth. This is what happened. There's nothing against guidelines or rules and regulations to speak about what happened. But we're living in a world where people believe that the person who's just, you know, spreading awareness about the truth is some radical or something like that. That's a programming in itself. That's a programming. No, if somebody does something and you say, yo, that's messed up what they done, you have the right to say that, because our people are still healing from these experiments. And the Most High is kindling up an anger. And I'm going to tell you a lot of stuff, because they were trying to transfer things through the placenta. I believe that the Most High protected a lot of children. And they didn't expect it. There's a lot of us born that are miracle babies, especially coming out the 80s in the crack epidemic. There was women who didn't understand what crack was doing the crack, and the baby came out perfectly fine. Seriously. Yeah, the Most High is going to get his payback.
Years looking at this.
She says her research reveals the men who designed and oversaw the St. Louis experiments were some of the top experts in radioactive weapons.
We know that the people who designed the study, who oversaw the study, these were all the radiological weapons experts who were looking at open air radiological weapons.
One of them, Brigadier General William Creasy, was...
Look at this hard-ass, racist-ass face right here. Yeah, you can just look at him. Look at him. That look like Satan. That look like Beelzebub right there. You know he drink the blood of babes. William Greasy. Look, that's the look of evil right there. These are the type of people who were spearheading these campaigns. Actual campaigns that's wiping us out by the thousands, even millions. And they want to call our people the most violent. They want to call us the most violent. We don't go around looking for babies to feed radiation oatmeal. What the hell they do that at? Our people don't do that. You don't see blacks and Latinos. You may see them gang banging and senseless violence, senseless crime, but you don't see us going to schools and like, you know what? We just going to put hot ones in kids. You don't see us thinking about, you know what? Let's come up with some mist that we can. You see that big project building right there? You don't see us sitting there like, yeah, you know, let's just put a methane gas in all the Starbucks coffee. You know, like we don't think like that. We don't think like that. Let's just poison all the falafels. Like we don't do that. What else they like? Let's just Tony, what the hell else they like? Cheese. Let's just ruin all the cheese. Let's poison all the cappuccinos and macchiatas, frap macchiatas, and like, come on, bro. But they give us grits though. What the hell is a grit? Somebody tell me, what is grits? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't believe it. Because they was trying to force everybody growing up to eat grits. Like we had to eat them grits. But anyway, look, let's go.
Out of the Army Chemical Corps, the very branch leading America's secret radiological weapons program during the Cold War.
And that was right out the Army Chemical Corps, like I brought that up earlier on my research. It was the Army Chemical Corps responsible. So now we know.
He brought in a scientist named Philip Layton, who was the Army's leading authority on using radioactive particles in aerosol form, fog-like clouds designed to drift over enemy terrain.
So the very man who designed this spraying experiment in St. Louis was an expert in using radioactive fog against the enemy.
Yes, he was the expert, the expert.
Then she says there's the timing.
They were looking for a city to test their offensive weapons program.
They were looking for a city to test their offensive weapons program. Just like they going into Chicago for a reason. They going into DC for a reason. Every time they looking to do something, why they got to do it in our communities? This is wild, y'all. Somebody said, yeah, placenta, that's popular in Italy, my culture. Yeah, they were in hopes that they would destroy the babies and see what would happen. Yeah, these people are sadists. Sadists.
Wanted to do it. They expressed this in documents. St. Louis was their chosen city. That was their analog city to Moscow. And they wanted to do this in 1953. And they showed up in 1953 in St. Louis.
But there's one document Dr. Martino Taylor has never been able to unearth. It's still classified. The Joint Quarterly Reports detail the spraying experiments, all written by Layton himself. The last one is missing. It's called Joint Quarterly Report 5, and we tried to get it. Our team filed a Freedom of Information Act request on May 5th of 2025. By law, the government must respond to a FOIA within 20 working days, but it's been more than 3 months with multiple follow-ups. Nothing. The silence is what's called a constructive denial, and renowned activist Erin Brockovich says it reminds her of cases where the truth was hidden.
So, Erin, what is your reaction to this News Nation investigation? Did this shock even you?
Absolutely. I think my comment was, are we WTF the kidding me? I mean, what the hell? It's awful. I mean, the biggest thing, and I've learned in 30 years, is it's always the cover-up that enrages people, that hurts people. And I've learned that
well, the reason why they do the cover-up is because they don't want to pay up. Just like right now, you got the Republicans trying to hide Black history in the schools. Because guess what? You got FBAs wanting our residuals. We want our tangibles. So that's why they cover up. Look, we got to give them that cover up, because if we don't cover it up, we're going to have to pay up. So we're going to give them these little shady answers to what happened. No, pay up. And see, that's what the protest's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be people in St. Louis, after this news aired, people in St. Louis supposed to be like, oh, nah. Where's the activists for stuff like this? You know, every time, you know, a police officer does something to a Black man, you got the activists come in, you know, the lawyers, the political lawyers that come out. No, this is what they need to really come out for. That would have more of an impact, if you ask me. If you come out on these situations, let me be one of them lawyers. I'm like, oh, no, we finna get it. We're going to get your family 50 million. Hey, listen, they're going to have to, everybody in that environment. But instead, everybody looking for who Diddy peed on. You know what I'm saying? Who Diddy, like who Bill Cosby slipped something in the pudding with. No, look, we need to figure out everybody who got affected by these people. People still telling me grits is corn. All right, y'all, I didn't know. I just won't eat them. Because on the box, it say grits. When I go to the ingredients, it don't say nothing. I don't even think it's ingredients on the box. So I don't like eating nothing. I don't see the ingredients on it. But that is what it is. When I was growing up, I didn't know what the hell grits was. It just didn't taste good. The one time I tried it, I didn't like it. You know, Black folks love some grits. I can't eat grits. Let me see. Yeah, man, this is wild. Somebody said Erin Brockovich, just that, I don't know who that is. And your sentence, you got to reconstruct your sentence. We got to proofread. All right. But I think you about to give me some info. So correct the sentence and I'll read it.
communities can handle the truth. What they don't handle and where they'll tip a scale is the lie. So this has been a cover up, and I think that modern day agencies owe it to them. The truth.
Do you think there's been a lie here, a cover up here?
It sure looks that way.
Our investigation now drawing attention from lawmakers, including Congressman Wesley Bell of Missouri.
When American citizens have been impacted and exposed to chemicals specifically because of the federal government, I think that we should do, as Democrats and Republicans, we should all do the right thing.
Agreed. You living in a bipartisan country. And in a bipartisan country, when the federal government is doing experiments on the people, everybody's supposed to be outraged. This ain't about woke liberalism. This is about humility, people. This is not about anything political. No, we're talking about tyranny right now. We're talking about an invasion of human rights to the highest power. Exploitation to the highest power. It don't matter what side you on. For the record, I ain't no Democrat or no Republican. I say that so many times, but because of my rhetoric, a lot of people believe I'm a Democrat. It's crazy because when Biden was in office, I was going in on him. I already told you I'm a political villain. Whoever in the office, I'm going against. Why? Because they don't have a comprehensive plan for our people who built the country. That's my take on politics. I don't rock with none of them. But as individuals out there, if you on a Democrat or Republican side, as long as you're a free thinker and you got deductive reasoning skills and common sense, I can rock with you.
Make certain to make these folks whole again, get them the compensation they deserve and the treatment that they need and also deserve.
It can happen to you. Don't get duped that it can't happen to you. We didn't think it was going to happen to us. We was babies, kids. It can happen to you, too.
Representative Bell is now fighting to get Pruitt-Igoe included in the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act that would provide payouts to Americans who can prove they were exposed to radiation during the Cold War. But for Pruitt-Igoe residents, there's a catch. Because key records remain classified, they haven't been able to prove what they were exposed to. What do you want everyone to know?
Ain't that something? They don't want to pay up.
About what happened here?
The truth. Whatever the truth is, we want to know the truth. I don't think we get it now.
In the meantime, residents say all they can do is wait, hoping someone finally listens. When will you give up this fight?
Never. Till I'm cold and dead and buried in my grave.
And Elizabeth, we asked the Army point blank, was there a radioactive component to that spray? It's interesting that they didn't just say no. Rather, they said, quote, none of the reports contained evidence of a radioactive component, pointing.
So I guess they trying to claim it was some rogue person in the military that they had no control of. But none of our reports said that, you know. And that's the U.S. Army's official statement. That's wild.
Us to reports like a review by the National Research Council. But Elizabeth, a close read of that report shows even the NRC admitted they could not fully assess the risk of the spraying, because when they asked the Army for key records, the Army replied the documents were either classified or they were missing. The Army could not find them. And Elizabeth, I have to tell you, these residents feel the government is waiting.
You hear this negligence? The Army lost them. You know, we need them documents because people are dying of cancer. Oh, we lost those. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our taxpayer dollars that go towards these people. They could just tell us, oh, we lost them. That is crazy. The Japanese that was put in internment camps, they got their reparations. They wasn't told that, you know, hey, we lost the history. It seems like every other nation of people who have atrocities committed, they get their reparations. The Holocaust victims got theirs. why is it every time as black folks, oh no, y'all ain't getting shit back. We lost that. No matter what it is with our people. Y'all don't notice this pattern? Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. My niece is only 10 years old with diabetes, and it reminds me and remind you is not hereditary. No, it's not hereditary, it's dietary. Yeah, there's a whole lot of examples of other groups getting their just due for what was done to them.
Them out. The people you just heard from last night and tonight are the ones who are still here, who are well enough to speak. One woman we were supposed to meet with died before we could get to her. She was suffering from multiple cancers. Her daughter asked us to keep going, and we will keep pushing for information, including those classified documents, Elizabeth.
Now, see, this is what our people are supposed to be on code for. You know, you got these reporters and journalists, they doing their job. They trying to figure out what chemicals we use. So it's like they have already admitted to certain chemicals being used because they don't have the full list. You telling me these people can't get back just due? They were experimented on. At this point, we just getting word salad and we just getting told anything. This is what people are supposed to come together on right here. Yeah, this is gaslighting 101. This is gaslighting. They already admitted to what they did. Yo, Real 80 says, then they will be like, that was a long time ago. You had a black president. This is recent. It's happening now, you idiots, gaslighting, right? Oh, that happened a long time ago. Every time we call foul play on the atrocities they commit, well, y'all had a black president. Like, what? What the hell that got to, what? It's like, man, it is crazy. Yeah, that lady lost her life with multiple cancers. Just like this whole black accountability thing. You know, black people, y'all just need to be held accountable. Won't you tell the people who put us in this condition to hold themselves accountable? How could you put somebody in austerity measures, bash and beat them, and then once they respond unhappily, you say, you know what, y'all need to be held accountable. That's like a thief telling somebody not to steal. How about you hold yourself accountable and fix those people that you broke? It's gaslighting. And for the record, history will show you that we were upstanding people during and after slavery. And every time we went and held every time we built something, they came and tore it down. No matter how we were acting. When we was like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, massa, no, massa, that didn't stop them from continuing to beat on us and dash our heads across the stone. Accountable. Listen, when God's people get out of pocket, the Most High hold us accountable. That's who hold us accountable. There's not a mere man that can hold the black community accountable. The Most High got us. These people out here conducting experiments on our people. And then gaslight. Yeah, we admit we did experiment on y'all. Yeah, we did it, but through our law, you know how they always find loopholes. But we found some loopholes, and according to the lawsuit that y'all want, what kind of lawyer do they got? According to the lawsuit, the loophole is we didn't find every chemical. Y'all can't prove every chemical was used on y'all. That's like somebody admit to shooting you in your back while you was eating lunch at McDonald's. They get caught and they say, well, yeah, I shot him in the back, but you can't find out what bullet fragments I used. It's like, what the fuck? What is that? Yeah, I shot him, but you don't know exactly what kind of ammo I used that day. What? Only the government gets away with that. It's insane, man. It is insane. Man, I'm telling y'all, man, this something's got to give in this country. Man, listen, man. Y'all already know how I go, man. I've been giving y'all a lot of stakes. And listen, I want y'all to apply that pressure on the like button. And also, if y'all want to sponsor the show, y'all already know how to do it. Go ahead and scan that QR code, support New Breed Global Truth platform, because I'm putting out the truth that people scared to talk about. And we go win. We bring the history, we bring the facts. And if you don't want to support via Cash App, right now we got a sale on the red Hebrew Heroes heavyweight tees. These are high quality t-shirts. Man, cop your Hebrew Heroes, because we the heroes out here. So, you know what I'm saying? We got something to offer. Quality, merchandise, man. When they want to shadow ban and hide this premium material, y'all can be the patrons of this channel and make sure that the channel continues to thrive. Right? Sponsor the program. Now, man, I'm telling y'all, you know how we do it. We go in. We go in. Let me see here. And I'm going to just list off some more of these experiments in case y'all think it's a game, right? In case y'all think it's a game. Because it's nothing but facts being dropped right here. How about in Mississippi when they did these forced sterilizations? Yeah, they were sterilizing black women. 1920s, 1970s. It was called the Mississippi Appendectomies. Appendectomies sterilizations. That's what it's called, appendectomies. Guess what? Thousands of black women in the South, especially Mississippi, they got sterilized without any consent under federal funded eugenics. Yeah, doctors was out here performing hysterectomies or tubal ligations under the guise of routine procedures. They still do that. They still do that. They'll sit up here and act like it's normal for them to do these things in these hospitals. Yeah, this is what they do. It impacted generations of women. They lost the ability to have children. That's depopulation. Lifelong physical and psychological drama. Back in 1961, the civil rights activist Fannie Lou Hamer, who was a well-known victim, she came clean and it opened up, it stirred the hornet's nest. I'm telling you. Or how about the Henrietta Lacks situation? The doctor at Johns Hopkins took cervical cancer cells from Henrietta Lacks. Let me make sure my chat moving. You think that lady ever got her just due? So while they experimenting on the women, they taking her cells to cure their cancers that they catching naturally. Yeah, somebody got it. Somebody shared it in their God's property. Yep, the Mississippi appendectomy. That's right. Happened from the 1920s all the way to the 1970s. And this is federal funded eugenics. It's just the facts. Or how about Margaret Sanger, who started Planned Parenthood? Margaret Sanger, who was a well-known Klan member. Margaret Sanger that said black children was like weeds that needed to be exterminated. But they want to keep calling us the most violent people in the world, the most evil people in the world. They got black fatigue. Name a time in history where we did this to anyone. You can't. because it's not in our nature to do such evil. And thank you for the 4 people who have scanned the QR code. Some of y'all out here, y'all just be scanning the code to see if it worked. Like, oh, it do work. Leave you alone though. You good show, but I ain't. If you're gonna scan the code, support the show. Respectfully. The QR code does work. Listen, I've tested it. Respectfully. I know it's cool. It's a cool feature though. I give y'all that. I'm thankful for whatever y'all can do, support the show. It is a cool feature though, because I don't think nobody else actually has this. So it's kind of cool. But they took Henrietta Lacks cells without her permission. They called it the immortal cell. And that cell became the foundation of modern biomedic research today. I'm telling y'all. We better stop acting like this stuff don't exist. I say this all the time. Gang stalking as we know it today, that is human experimentation too. Yeah, Sarah Bartman. Yeah, she was a shapely woman. They took her. They basically took her on a circus. They treated her like a circus gesture, took her around on tour, took her body parts, put them in a museum all the way up to the 70s. Imagine that. And you got Cracker Barrel trying to change their logo to become woke. And guess what? They lost millions of dollars in a day. Why? Because America is racist. Racism lives in America just like apple pie, man. It ain't going no damn where. It was built in it. Yeah, this is what they do. And then they want to paint us as being uncivilized. No, what's uncivilized is that you are ready to, that you are conducting experiments on people and taking them out. How about the Edgewood Arsenal experiments? That happened 1955 through 1975. You notice a lot of these experiments, they be happening for 20 years plus. Another U.S. Army with many minority and poor recruits. Soldiers were exposed to chemical agents, nerve gas, LSD, mustard gas, psychoactive drugs. And guess what they were doing? Studying incapacitating agents so they can go to war with other people. Not to mention they were using our soldiers as cannon fodder, putting us on the front line. You know, some of the soldiers going to the military, black soldiers, a whole percentage of them, a great percentage of them, going to the military thinking they're going to fight for their country, only to be put in mustard gas chambers. Only to be incapacitated, tortured. That's torture. Gave them all kind of experiments. And guess what? The military never provided any informed consent. The mustard gas, it was mustard gas experiments on black soldiers in World War II too. Where soldiers were deliberately exposed to mustard gas. And guess why they were doing it this time? To study racial differences in chemical burns and reactions. Let me see how this burn look on brown skin versus white skin. What the hell is wrong with these damn people? That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing, to see how burns affects different skin complexions, y'all. Yeah, the U.S. military did this. And you want, and listen, you want them in our neighborhoods. Now, look, let me say this: some of the people stationed in the neighborhoods, they don't want to be there. They don't even look happy. They didn't think that they were going to be doing that. But these other guys, though, they always got their face wrapped up with no badge numbers. Do y'all really trust them in the community? I don't. Real 80 says they was eating Nat Turner's body parts, keeping body parts as souvenirs, and turn them into oil for lamps. See, that's sadistic. But we the most violent. But we the most evil, according to a lot of talking heads out there. No, it's about time we learn our history. And it may make you feel a certain way, but knowledge is power. And once you know the history, you can't unknow it. And that's why I make it my business to really bring this out for y'all. In World War II, thousands of those Black people suffered chronic lung problems, cancers, and disfigurement. And guess what? After all of that, they were denied veteran benefits for decades. Sound familiar? Imagine going to the military just to be experimented on, and then once you are disabled from their experiments, they're not even gonna give you no aid. So you just roaming the streets, incoherent, sick, and unable to work, and they're not even gonna help you. How about Operation Big Itch? Operation Dropkick, 1950. Residents in Savannah, Georgia, Avon Park, Florida, the military released millions of infected mosquitoes to test the feasibility of biological warfare using insects. Oh yeah, they use mosquitoes too. Where the residents out here in Savannah, Georgia, got yellow fever and dengue fever. And you can look this up in the U.S. Army Archives. It's in Smithsonian Magazine. That's in Smithsonian Magazine. Oh, it's a reason why I'm hitting y'all with all of what took place like this. But you got these people claiming they belong in our communities. Nah. You must stop listening to these raccoons, man. Stop listening to them. And this ain't about spreading no hate, because what I'm doing right now is informing my people. We don't hate nobody. What you seen them do is acts of hate with no compassion. I hate the evil that these wicked people did. But what I mean to say is, I don't walk around looking at certain races of people and say, you know, I hate those people. Nope, that ain't me. How about Operation Sea Spray, 1950? They did this to San Francisco residents. The U.S. Navy sprayed Serratia marskin, a bacteria in the San Francisco area, to test biological weapon dispersion. Caused multiple hospitalizations because they got bacteria. Operation Dew, 1951. The U.S. Army released aerosol particles like zinc sulfide over a large coastal area to test how far biological weapons could spray. So it's nothing new. And this happened in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. It's nothing new with the U.S. government doing something to its own citizens. That's not new. Somebody said King David prophesied on these destructions, on these people's destruction. Oh, they will be destroyed for this evil. Let's see. Hino Bless says, you speaking facts, bro. I'm a Navy veteran that indeed approved these facts you speaking of, bro. Real talk. Yeah, now you got Trump talking about everybody wants to join the military now, and you know, a lot of people have been joining. They didn't want to be in there with Biden or whatever the case is. I don't know how true that is, but I'm here to tell you, man, they ain't gonna treat you right. They are not gonna treat you right. How about Operation White Coat? We already talked about that, and not even talk about the MK Ultra, where they had these prisoners and psychiatric patients taking LSD and hallucinogens and all of that. I believe that really still goes on. I think MK Ultra is happening to a lot of the celebrities now. They using that to control them. Yep, Real 80 says they were collecting our ancestor skulls to prove we weren't human. Race science. They kept the human skulls for more than a century like hunting games. Now imagine how barbaric that is. But they got black fatigue. Like, what kind of Stephen King novels do these people read to even come up with this stuff? You have to be innately evil to even conspire to do something like that to a group of people. How about Project 112? Shad, 1962. U.S. military personnel and civilians in remote areas, often without consent. The military tested chemical, biological weapons on ships and coastal towns using live agents like sarin and VX nerve gas. Many veterans later developed rare illnesses and cancers. Do you still want to be a soldier? And when we had Dre Static on the other day, he told y'all when they joined the military, they just line them up and give them shots. Line them up and prick them with needles. He said he still don't know what was in them needles. Don't think these experiments don't still go on. Yeah, they've been experimenting on the people for centuries. And it's not only black people and what they call minority groups. No, they experiment with everybody on a psychological level. They experiment with everybody on a psychological level. Let me see here. How about the Avon Park biological test? Black neighborhood in Avon Park, more infected mosquitoes. Residents were never informed, and many became ill with unexplained fevers and sicknesses. Last but not least, the Edgewood Arsenal hallucinogen experiment, LSD BZ testing, primary young black soldiers. Those soldiers with powerful hallucinogens like BZ and study non-lethal incapacitating agents. Many soldiers experienced long-term neurological and mental health problems. And this was documented in the U.S. Army Chemical Corps records. That's the Chemical Corps. They the same ones that did what they did in St. Louis. Some really, Real 80 says they were trying to study O.J. Simpson's brain. Wow, they were trying to collect his brain and study it. See, these people are maniacs, mad scientists. What I say in a song? It's like a out of body experience, trying to survive their experiments. All the chemtrails they putting in the air and everything that's going on in this world, every day we trying to survive their damn demonic experiments, y'all. And see, the older you get, the more you don't really want to hold your tongue on these type of things. You just want to speak it. This is what's happening. This is the world we living in. Wake up. That's why we need to be somewhere peaceful, where we can have our own fruits and vegetables. We can have our own livestock, agriculture, and so forth. Listen, on government files, it's telling you that they've been experimenting in orphanage homes, foster homes. I believe personally that the foster homes in America is a human trafficking ring, a whole front. Real talk. And a lot of these damn, what do they call the workers that show up? Social workers, they in on it. Them social workers, what do? They show up and take pictures of the kids, send them to take them to agencies. We don't know where the hell these children are ending up. You see them 20 years later roaming the streets, geeked up. That's what's happening in this country. And see, because America looks, on the outside, it looks like it's still fully functional and operating compared to other countries. But man, when you scratch the surface, America's like a thought that look good. On the outside, everything look cool, but underneath, what's under the hood though? That's what America's like. A thought with a lot of makeup on, dressed up, but it's ugly inside. Insides ain't right. And when you one who can see, you can feel what's going on in this country. That's why, look, I tell y'all like this, man. We got to be girded up, have the full armor on, and stay aware out here. Don't let nobody shame you for being socially conscious. That's one thing that happens so much in this world we living in. When you start speaking facts, speaking truth, they try to label you something, a conspiracy theorist, a tinfoil hatsman. Oh, you just talking. Yep. I remember that. I seen that video, Real 80s. Remember this video? It says, remember those kids, whistleblowers? They said the whole town was in on sacrificing kids and eating babies. Yep. I had just actually seen that video not too long ago as a reminder. I really would like to react to that, but that's going to have to be behind a paywall. We got to react to that on Patreon. Because that's what really be going on. Yeah, the whole school. The whole school was in on it. Teachers, guidance counselors, the school bus drivers, everybody was in on it. That's what type of stuff happens.
In the after school programs too.
Yeah, they can hear you. You might as well speak. Yeah, they was doing it on the after school programs. All of that. Somebody said that's deep. It's so true, brother. We have to stay woke and pay attention. Discernment is important. For real. Like, this stuff is real. Yeah, man. It reminds me of like Rosemary's Baby, man. The whole town be on targeting certain people, but we ain't even gonna go that deep on that. But the point I'm making is, man, this country it has a lot of wickedness. And I'm not saying, listen, because this is their talking point now. If you hate America so much, why don't you leave? I ain't going no damn where. This ours. And one day I may want to leave the country, but not because it's so bad I gotta leave. Nope. The reason why I would choose to stay, if I ever chose to stay, is because it's our country. Just because the reason why it is like it is because who's ruling it. That's why it's evil. Because who's ruling it? The Bible says when the wicked bear rule, the righteous mourn. But if you look at it, these damn conquerors, they got stake in every country at this point. There's not a country that has not been bruised by white supremacy. Not one. Yeah, we're not about to flee no damn where. It's my country. I built it. Matter of fact, we want everything you owe us. Ain't nobody finna flee nothing. Right now, my complaint ain't America as a landmass. My complaint is the people who running America. What they're doing to America. Contrary to popular belief, I'm actually very American when you think about it. Because they be trying to accuse a brother of being anti-American. No, I'm speaking up for veterans. I'm speaking against injustice. I thought that's what America's supposed to be about. Yeah, ain't nobody fitting to flee this place. I want to get a bird's eye view when the Most High obliterate these people. I want to get a bird's eye view when he stomped down on these damn devils. My ancestors' blood been screaming from the graves. I'm telling you. But y'all know, man, we be cooking with heat, man. We be cooking with heat, so straight flame. So if y'all want to sponsor the show, y'all already know what time it is. Sponsor the show. NewBreedGlobalTruth.com. All right. So with all that being said, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining, man. I'm going to have more material coming. Y'all be blessed.